Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today on our special call. This is our monthly fasting support group, but today we have a special guest, Queen Arufo. I hope I'm saying it correctly.
It's okay.
Yes, so thank you, Queen, for being here. And you have quite an interesting journey because you have a background as a medical doctor in the traditional Western medicine, and you recently embarked on a journey as a healer and explored water fasting, which is very fascinating. So I'm very curious if you could share maybe in a short essay quickly your journey and why you decided to embark on that journey. Maybe that's what I'm curious about.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm very happy to be here and share it with you. And well, I think everybody's journey starts by birth. I was born in Southeast Africa from a African and a European mixed family. And my parents lived there, and my mother worked as an X-ray technician in a hospital. So I was very much familiar with hospitals since a very young age. And my parents moved to Portugal when I was 8 years old. So I also have an experience with a different kind of culture and traditions, so both African and European. And later on, I moved to Holland and I studied biomedical sciences and then afterwards medicine. And I became an anesthesiologist. So the doctor who always comes with injections and doing very mean things to your body and makes sure that you can endure even terrible things like operations. So I was pretty much interested in health and helping people. And I was actually very much happy doing it for many years. Being an anesthesiologist, I felt that I could help people and ease their suffering with traditional allopathic medicine, with pills and injections. But somewhere along the way, I started feeling not so much comfortable with the old system. Also, the unbalanced part of it is very masculine, many rules and protocols, and there is not so much feeling for individuality and what every individual needs. And the recipe is always the same. There is always a tablet or a medication that we give to everybody, and there is absolutely no way that you can get out of it. So started with very small frustrations. For example, somebody would come and needed to have surgery, and there was something wrong with the blood pressure, and I would say, okay, this is okay for the surgery, but I would advise you to go to your primary care physician to talk about your blood pressure because it's somewhat high, and probably your doctor will give you a recipe for some tablets, but maybe you should discuss something else like mindfulness or yoga practice or things like that. And weeks later, I would see the same person coming for the surgery, and I would ask, how did it go? And how is your blood pressure now? And they would have some tablets. So I got really frustrated with this system. And of course, when all this COVID theater came along, I really did not feel at home at this environment. And I decided it was time for me to do something different. And my journey actually began by healing some ancestor wounds. So I went through meditation and traveling to Mexico and Peru, and just rediscovering things that I already knew. and putting in practice some things, and also being more balanced. You know, in this very masculine world, you sometimes just lose the touch with your feminine parts. And we I mean, those of us who are mothers know how only loving somebody is already such a powerful instrument in healing. You know, when a child falls and you just hug him or her, you will already start this healing process. So anyways, I also had an experience with fasting. I felt that it was something that I needed to do, and I planned it in a way that I would wanted to do with the Virgo astrology season, because it's the season that's most appropriate in astrology for fasting, especially because the Virgo rules the intestines, but it's also cleansing and everything. And yeah, synchronicity may be that I just came along some videos of Lauren, and I just Lauren Lockman, and I just did it remotely with him. And afterwards I went up working also in together with him, and learning some things about longer fasts, because I already had experience with short fasts myself and people around me. So I got some experience also with longer fasts and how to help people with it. Something that I noticed myself, and there is not much knowledge about it and not many people know much about it, is what about after the fast? Because I think the process starts it with a fast, then you have the second phase, and that is the refeeding process. But then then things really start happening, because you have to reintegrate all of this into your normal life. And I do feel there is not much knowledge with it, and that's something that I'm really interested in, how to reintegrate all the good things all the transformations that happened in your life during the fasting into your normal life. This is interesting for people who are relatively healthy, but also with people who are used to taking a lot of medication. How do you go on? Should you restart your medication, and how should you do it? And all these questions. So yes, I think that's what I wanted to share for now.
Okay, thank you for sharing your journey. And I actually want to open up for questions, but before we do that, I actually have a question to you. Mm-hmm. So what was your greatest challenge that you experienced when embarking on a water fast?
My greatest challenge, I actually realized at some point that it was the simplicity of it was total surrender. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you. I think there are all girls now. Is that right? I don't know about you girls. But we do think, I mean, I used to think, oh, surrender, I do that all the time. But I always have plan A and B and C. So when things did not went my way while fasting, and I was having really difficult drinking water, and I had so much nausea, so I was have this plan, and I will meditate, and I will do some reflexology, and I will do whatever, and nothing was working. And so I just had to surrender. I think that was my biggest challenge. And that was so beautiful, because when I was able to do that and experience that, yeah, sometimes there are things that you cannot control, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that's, you made a good point. Surrender, it's not just with fasting, like anything. When we learn to surrender to life, life will actually guide us, and whatever we need will emerge from within, you know. So it's a powerful process to surrender. So thank you for mentioning that, Queen. And let's open up for questions. So this is opportunity for you. I know you're all into fasting, to ask someone who actually has experience with fasting, but also comes from the medical background, you know, so it's a unique opportunity. So whoever likes to say, I know Shavanik raised her hand. Hi, Shavanik. Can you unmute yourself?
She's muted.
Can you unmute yourself?
Your microphone should be at the top.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Well, you're unmuted.
You might have to answer use Wi-Fi audio. Like click on your microphone and it might ask you.
Well,
Ellie?
she's, oh, Ellie, do you have a question? Otherwise, I thought I
Ellie,
could say something else.
Ellie,
Oh,
can-
yes, Ellie.
Yeah, I
Ellie, can you unmute her because you're the host?
She is unmuted. There's something else going on.
Okay.
She might have to. In.
Yeah. But I do have a question if we want to wait while she sees if she can.
You go ahead, Ellie, and meanwhile she can maybe figure it out.
And Queen and I met at Tanglewood.
Yes, such a beautiful experience. Yes.
It was fantastic.
Yes.
And so my question is how to know like how the food is sitting with the body. So I'll use an example that I find that sometimes my toes will feel tense or contracting. Do you know if that's a direct correlation? Usually what I do then is start drinking more. I figure, and actually it's connected to my bowels. I love it because we get to talk about that. So do you know medically anything about that, the connection between the body in that way?
No, that there are no many, unfortunately, the allopathic medicine does not make many connections. It separates all organs. So that's why you have those specialists, the one who only deals with intestines and the other who only deals with lungs and the other one only deals with skin. Like if in our body, everything is separated that way. And so I do have some interest in other forms of medicine, but that's not my forte. So I don't pretend that I know anything about Chinese medicine or reflexology. I do know something about it. In the way I was taught, the way that I see things, those contraction could probably mean something with electrolyte disturbances, for example. And absolutely hydration can have a role with it, because it also, if you are dehydrated, your electrolytes will not be working the way they should be. I mean, even if you have enough of those. But another thing that I do consider important when I'm talking with people and they have issues, I do like to connect first in a energetically level, and that just lets also things flow, because then also to connect with my knowledge, things that I know and I heard about, but also with the inherent wisdom that everybody has and everybody has. So if we are connected, maybe together we can access that wisdom. And so that's the way I do like to work, and it's really very helpful. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you want to try again? Yeah, there you
Okay.
go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I wanted to ask a question more about electrolytes.
Uh-huh.
So I've been doing research. I've done juice fast.
Mm-hmm.
I've done juice fasting, but not water fasting. And
Yes.
so I'm looking into possibly doing it the next time I do a fast. And so I saw a lot of people talk about electrolytes, and I kind of wanted a more natural effect. And so I was going to ask one, what do you think about using coconut water as an electrolyte a day? And then if not, what are your thoughts about that?
But let me ask you, are you just thinking of fasting with coconut water, just this kind of fast, or what?
Possibly spring water and using the coconut water as my electrolytes throughout the
But
day.
then I would actually not consider that officially a fast because coconut water has
True.
sugar,
Okay.
and so you will be having calories or energy, so it will not be a water fast.
Okay.
You can, of course, there are different ways of cleaning your body. I will actually only considering a fast if you're not eating anything in the form of nourishing except water. So if
Okay.
you're doing a juice fast, I do like that term juice feast. I like that one because actually it's fasting because we are just getting away from our normal diet and pattern, but I don't think that's really fasting. So of course
Okay.
you can also do it with water and coconut water, but then it's not a water fast. I do understand the problems and questions and issues people have with electrolytes because things can happen with that. And the biggest problem would be if you are not enough hydrated or you are having too much water.
Okay.
So that where is when problems can happen. Be aware while fasting, your electrolytes will decrease. That's absolutely normal and that's not a problem. The thing is they should not, if that goes steadily, every day, little by little, you will have no or little issues with it. But if it just drops rapidly, your body cannot handle the change, and then you can have symptoms and really serious ones. So drinking water is very important. And one thing that I do when guiding people through a fast is because normally many people are not used to drink water, not enough water. So they think, oh, I should start with, I don't know, let me think, I don't remember in ounces, but just 4 liters or something like that. I do think if you are drinking 1/4 of it a day, yes, you should. Yeah, I know what it is. Just let me start with a gallon a day, and you normally are drinking 1/4. Don't do that. Just increase little by little. So that's also something that I think it's important in guiding people, and so that you will not have major electrolyte shifts and have issues. So to answer
Okay.
your question, coconut water is okay, but you're not really water fasting.
Fasting. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is my last question based off of what you said. So you said it's if there is like a drastic decline, it's due to not drinking enough water or drinking too much water. What would be symptoms of both of those?
The thing is that symptoms of electrolyte disturbances can be very subtle and sometimes are very difficult to diagnose. There are things that are really major and then you cannot miss it. For example, extreme cramps that people cannot move their fingers, or
And that would be not enough water or too much water if
can
the
be
cramp.
both. Can
Oh,
be
okay,
both.
okay, okay. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
can be both. Yes. But some things are so subtle that you will not notice unless you know that person really well, just really subtle changes in behavior or
Okay.
things like that. But it's not, unfortunately, you cannot say, oh, that symptom, that's really too low magnesium or that's too much potassium,
Right.
or no, because they look so much alike. So you don't know if it's too much or a little or not enough water or too much water. We don't know.
Okay, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I said that was my last question, but this one is really my last question. When it comes to
Maybe
type of
not.
water, I love spring water.
Yeah.
Geyser crystal to be exact. So should you do purified spring, is distilled? Does it matter?
Yeah. I don't know what your opinion is, but I do feel that nature is perfect. So
Okay.
sometimes we try to copy it and do things in our own way, but that's why I'm inclined to go with spring water, because that's something that comes directly from nature. So if we go purifying it or something else, that will not be as ideal as water that's available to us from nature. Of course, that's not always available for everybody. And even better, I was traveling yesterday, so I also bought some spring water, but it's also in a plastic bottle. That's also not ideal. But so sometimes we just have to compromise what's available for us. And if spring water is not available, what's the next best solution? Spring water, bottled spring water in plastic bottles, okay, not ideal. Or if that's also not available, purified water. So of course, there's the most perfect solution, but sometimes perfect is not possible. So you just have to see what works for you, or maybe you cannot afford it or something else. So just then try the next best solution.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. That is all of my questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
How can we test the electrolytes?
Actually, there is only one way of doing it. It's by measuring it, taking a blood sample and measuring it. Normally, if you're healthy, don't have any major health concerns, and you are not taking any medication, whatever, especially if your kidneys are working properly, your electrolytes will be fine. Most of the time we see electrolyte disturbances in people that are taking medication or have other health issues or have really strange diet, very radical. Even when I speak with medication, I always would say also be careful with supplements, because we don't realize how powerful those can be. So those using supplements can also shift your electrolytes. But if you are healthy, you are eating a normal diet, not taking supplements of medication, I do expect that your electrolytes will be fine at the beginning, fine enough, good enough to start a fast. If people are eating a diet of mostly raw fruits and salads, as I do, probably their electrolytes will be a little bit different than people having a normal standard American or whatever diet, but they will still be within the normal range. But then, for example, the sodium will be much lower than you expect from your neighbor, and the potassium will be much higher, but they will still be within the normal range. And there are always, if I can maybe give you some examples, if people have electrolyte disturbances, and I remember this girl I was just helping with her fast, and she had really electrolyte disturbance by the beginning and actually didn't want her to fast, but she did. And she said, oh, I'm perfectly healthy and I'm eating normal and blah, blah, blah. And along the way, I discovered she was just taking Adderall, caffeine tablets, and sleeping pills. So of course, that there is always a reason why your electrolytes are not fine. So even if people don't tell you at the beginning, for sure, if there are some disturbances, there's something off.
Can I ask something about the heart rate? I have experienced through dry fasting that my heart rate goes up, and sometimes really strong. Would this be a fact to stop a fast, or is that normal?
Hi there. I don't have my glasses. Can you please help me with your name?
Katja.
Hi, Katja. You're from
Yeah.
Germany?
Yes, I'm from
Oh,
Germany.
okay. Love your accent. Hi, Katja. I actually don't have any experience with dry fasting. And I do think water is really important. So I don't have much experience with it. So I cannot give you many answers with it because personally, I don't feel very comfortable with this form of fasting. So I cannot help you with that. Your heart rate going up can absolutely be dehydration. But of course, or maybe dry fast experts will say, yes, you need that to have the maximal results. So that's part of the dry fasting, but I don't know much about it. I will advise people to fast with water.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and even during water fast, fast heart rate can also be indicative of not enough water, but also with from the symptom of detoxing.
And would you say something about how to break the water fast?
That will depend on how long you fasted, but I guess I think the best way to do it is with foods that your body has less issue digesting them, and that will be fruit. And according to the amount of time you have been fasting, you can just see what portion is the most appropriate for you. Because if you have been fasting for 2 days, you can handle a bigger portion than if you have been fasting for 30 days. But fruit is absolutely something that I would recommend. And of course, coconut water is not a fruit, but it's also really appropriate if you can have it. But if you are thinking of doing coconut water, also, or what about we're talking earlier, I would just say only do that if you have access to fresh coconut water, not from packages, because that's already pasteurized, so cooked, so you lose many of the nutrients. So coconut water is actually, I think, only an option if you have it fresh. So coconut water is an option. Fruit is an option. There are some people who will also choose juices or smoothies. You can do that, but I think fruit is pretty much okay because it's just a natural form of nutrition and it's absolutely not hard to digest. I think a smoothie or a juice will not be much better than that.
Okay, thank you.
And if you have access to watermelon, that's a really good choice.
Absolutely, yes, Ellie, because it's water content is really high. It's absolutely easy to digest, has many nutrients, and it is delicious. And don't we love that? That's also something. Yes, thank you for saying that, Ellie, because one thing that we tend to forget is, and then I go back, to our second chakra, things also have to be nice and fun and delicious. So you have been, fasting is also a very masculine way of healing, it's you have all those rules and not, and then you break it, just let your feminine energy come, just also to balance. What do you feel like eating? I don't think you feel like eating grilled chicken. I hope not. But just choose something that you think it's delicious and it will taste nice and you'll make you feel good, and it will be a fruit. So think, oh, watermelon, it's so nice, so yummy, and enjoy that. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for being here. Everything you've shared so far. For what is your longest fasted? And then when it was like your first ones, and just like how the mind just goes bonkers.
Yeah. Yes, Alpha, is it?
Yes, Alpha.
Yes, yes, Alpha. I had some issues with the sound. I don't know, it's from your part or mine, but what I did understand is you're asking what was my longest fast.
Yes.
And the second part of the question is about mind issues.
Mind
thoughts.
issues and cravings. Yeah, like
Ah,
feeling like you need to eat, and then just also that just the incessant chatter about food and everything else.
Yes. My longest fast was 21 days. And the longest fast, I did it myself. I've been counseling people with fasts longer than that, but personally, my longest fast was 21 days. And yes, I did shorter ones of 3 days or 5 days, but 21 was the longest. The thoughts and cravings and things like that, I think they're wonderful. Because yes, and I will tell you why, because you have this opportunity where you already set some rules. I'm not going to do this or that. And then you will have those demons come along. And now you have the opportunity to deal with them. You know, all those emotions, and now you don't have the distraction of food, because sometimes those thoughts and emotions will come along and you just then discover that you need to eat something, that you are hungry or something like that, and you go and you prepare yourself something delicious so you don't have to deal with those thoughts and emotions. So that's a really wonderful thing about fasting. So you get the opportunity to look into the eyes of those demons, you know, thoughts that you are running away from a long time. So you just have to face it. And emotions, and just think, do I really need chocolate? Is that really what is bothering me? Or do I just need to be listened to? Or I just really would like to have a hug? Or some things like that. And there are also some things that also will happen. People will also feel like, oh, I need an orgasm or whatever. These things also happen. And what do you really need? Do you need love, appreciation? You know, so this is the time that you can also deal with those thoughts and emotions, and have a good cry or a good laugh, or a moment where you just pick up your journal and write something. So it's really fantastic if people are brave enough during their fast and confront all the thoughts and emotions and nastiness, and just be there and be present and call things by the name and embark in this journey.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I'm sure I'll have lots to giggle about over the next couple of days. And one last question for you. How did you feel after your 21-day fast? Like, what difference did you notice?
Well, I actually think that I was ill informed. Because I was thinking, wow, I'll do this, and after 21 days, I will feel fantastic and be life-changing, and I will just wake up and everything will be transformed. I actually did it as a gift for myself for my 50th birthday. And I did not have any major health issues, you know, just little things. But I was just thinking, oh, my parents are growing old and they are just hopping from specialist to specialist, and they have pills and medications, and the conversation is all about doctors, visitors and visits and things like that. So I just want something different for myself as I grow beautiful. So that's why I just went and embarked in this journey. But actually, as I just said before, fasting is one phase, and then you have refeeding, and then you have integration. And I think there's so much attention put it on the fasting part itself, and there's not, people are not talking enough about the other phases. So when I start refeeding, my nausea increased. I could not drink water. And I also see people have difficulty going to the toilet. They start sweating, they feel terrible. They are having nightmares. They have a lot of cravings for foods that they think they are not appropriate for their bodies. So, and after that refeeding process, then you have to integrate everything in your life. You are tired, and you're maybe you have diarrhea, or you want to drink water, but keep on drinking water, but you are working, you know. So actually only experience major changes, or where actually that feeling, oh, I'm so happy I did it, for me only came, I guess, I don't know, 8 to 10 weeks after the fasting. There are some times, and I talk with Ellie also about it, that I was thinking, why did I start it? Yes, really. And especially in that reintegration part. And then I wish things could be as they were before, you know? And so you have to plan things very differently. You are going to travel by car. And for example, if you're in Latin America, there are not washrooms everywhere. So you have to think, I cannot eat. I should travel with an empty belly, because if I eat now, I don't know, where do I have the opportunity to go to the toilet? You know, practical things like this. Or you are really very tired and you want to engage with normal things of life, but you are so tired. Or you start craving for foods that you did not crave for many years. And, you know, I don't eat any kind of animal food. I avoid sometimes using this label as vegan or things like that. You can use it, no problem with it. But for many years, and then I was craving butter and croissants and you know. And so how do you deal with this? And so to answer again to your question, it was not just the fast finishing and I felt wonderful and fantastic. I had to reintegrate everything, and just after everything, there was this person who not just was born like this, but just developed after some weeks. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I've never even thought about integration. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, very much welcome. And that is the thing that I'm just do want to spend more and more of my time with, because that's, I think there's not much knowledge about it, and people really feel lost, especially if you buy a package or you go somewhere to a retreat and you fast. You will have some assistance and guidance throughout the fast and maybe the days after, but afterwards you are on your own. Yeah.
That's why Sabina said we could do the group, so at least we have some support. And
Yeah.
Shavanique has a question, which I kind of tie in mind to when would you recommend, like, duration? If somebody's longer than a 7-day fast, would you recommend them being guided through that? And her question is in the chat, because she's asking how long to water fast. So I'm kind of adding the duration question.
Yeah. I actually don't believe in those pre-made rules. Oh, so if you have diabetes, you should fast for so many days. If you have whatever, you should fast for so many days. And I do think this is also, if I would have a consultation with somebody, I would just, as I said, just try to connect on an energetic level and just see if we can find the duration of the fast was just at this time more appropriated for you. And sometimes people are so much focused on a particular result. You know, for example, I can imagine if you have high blood pressure, hypertension, that you want to get rid of it. But maybe that's not the priority now. That's most important for your body or for your life. And even if there was an answer, oh, hypertension should be 17 days or 18 or 24, maybe that's not the thing that you should be focused. But what will be at this moment the most beneficial for me if I fast? And there are many opinions on it. So I think this is something personal and depends of your moment. And if I was to guide somebody with this, I would just try to do it this way, connect, and then we could figure out what would be the most appropriate time to do it. And I don't think there is nothing wrong with incremental longer fasts. And for example, you know, I learned many things from Lauren Lockman, and he said, oh, you should do 21 days or longer. I do not agree that that's most appropriate for everybody, especially if you are older and you have much toxicity. A longer fast will be really, really, really heavy on your system. Maybe if you never fasted before, just start to do it 1 day, and then 3, and then 5, and then 7, and you know, and you will also detox with it, or maybe do a combination of juices, or you know, just the coconut water. A great idea. So and maybe you will never do a longer fast than that. That's something maybe that you don't need to experience in this lifetime. So but I don't think there is one answer. That's according to your situation at this time that we can probably give you an answer or find an answer.
Thank you.
Sure. And again, I just mentioned, but I do want to repeat because I think that's really important. Don't be too much focused on the result. You know, of course, you can just have an intention, and I think it's really good to have an intention before fasting. As for example, I have before my meditation, I put an intention, of before some practice, I put an intention. I'm doing this because that's what I want to achieve. But instead of having maybe a very concrete intention, I want to get rid of my diabetes, or I want to lose 20 pounds or something like that. Have a different intention, something like, I do hope I can heal something physical, or I want to have more emotional peace, or you know, something like this. Not that masculine, this is my goal. It's great to have goals, but maybe be a little bit more flexible with your goals. I just want to be healthier. So I just want to do this fast because I just want to be healthier, so that the result will be something that will be beneficial to my health, something like along these ways. That I think it will be less disappointing and more beneficial, actually. Because even if you have, I don't know, 20 pounds that you want to lose of hypertension, that will not be the most beneficial for you now to address that problem. Maybe it will be more beneficial if you get rid of, heal your liver or something else. And then if your liver is ill, then the next step will be something else, or maybe you will be done for the time being.
Yes, thank you for all the beautiful nuggets of wisdoms you shared, Queen. Yes, it's really beautiful. And I love especially one of the last points you made. There's no solution that fits, one size fits all. There's not one thing that works for everyone. And that's what I also completely agree with, because we're all different. And also, it's not just about the fasting. There's actually other components. There's the emotional component, the mental, So, it's not just doing a fast and then all your problems are gone. We always want to look at the whole picture. We want to approach, what are you thinking on a daily basis? Where are you putting your thoughts to? Where are you putting your energy? And, what emotions are you feeling? Which environment do you live in? Is that in alignment with your heart? Which relationships are you nurturing? So all this, what are you doing on a daily basis? Where you put your energy to, that actually affects your health. Because there's the emotional part, the mental, the relational, the sexual, the creative, our expression. So health is not just, if you want to have best health, it's not just about doing the fast and that's it. There's so many other areas we have to address. And you said something also, which I really love, that, we're not made out of these different parts. We're actually one whole, it's like one temple. That is the emotion, there's the mental part and the body, the mind, we all, this huge, I don't know how to call it, but it's not just different parts. Yeah, one whole miracle that we are. And just to take all these parts, like that never made sense to me, what the medical system does. You have a problem in that area, you have to go to this specialist. Yeah, instead of looking at the whole picture, what is at the root cause of the disease? So it's not just about what we eat, it's a lot has to do with what we think on a daily basis. Which disempowering beliefs are we feeding? Where do we have scarcity and lack mentality? Where do we limit ourselves? So all of that really affects who we are and how we feel and the health in our body. So, it's fasting is amazing. And I absolutely promoted. I actually live it. I've been doing this for 25 years now and has definitely changed my life, but it's not just the fast. Yes, so this is what I want to leave you with today.
Well, can we ask about Queen if people want to get in touch with you? Do you want to put that in the chat?
Yes, Queen, if you could give us your information.
Yes, I will give you my email because
yes, if someone wants to stay in touch with you or
yeah, sure. Yes, I will give it because I'm just busy with the website, but I will just share with in the chat with my email.
Yes.
And so you can absolutely contact me for anything. And as soon as I have a website, I will inform you. And yes, thank you so much for saying that. Toxicity comes in many forms. Yes, friendships, thoughts, emotions, and things like that. And you're saying, this huge thing that we are now, think this huge beauty that we are.
Miracle beauty.
Yes.
We're more than just these different parts.
We are more than that different parts. Yes, that's such a strange way of putting things in boxes and not integrating and seeing things as all. Yeah. So I'll just put my email on the chat so you can have it. And it was really great being here. And I would be happy to join you guys next month. So if you have questions for me or something like that, I'll be happy to be here in a month's time.
Yeah.
And the recording, sorry, it was asked about the recording. It'll be available in Sabina's Facebook group.
Yes, if you could send it to me, Ellie, and I will post it in the Facebook group, and also I will upload it on YouTube. So, Queen, if you want to send this to anyone else, you can always send them the link.
Okay, great.
And yeah, we'll post it as well because there's some people that were interested, but they couldn't make the time. So it's nice to have it available for them as well. And just one last question, Queen, do you offer any programs? If anyone wants to work with you, do you have anything? Any fasting programs?
Yeah.
Do you continue to work at Tanglewood?
I think phase of my life has come for me to fly away and do my own thing. And I'm working with it and trying to think what's more appropriate to do. For the time being, I'm not offering a program, but just individual consultations. But there are things that I'm just doing it now, but I have to think about prices and packages and things like that. But I was thinking more as individual consultations because that's the way I do like to work. And people can consult me for one time or maybe for more times, and we can just, can have a consultation and talk about what's your issue, what do you want to achieve, and how do you see it, and maybe you can just think, oh, we'll have one conversation or 5 or 10, and from then on we can just have this one-on-one calls. But I'm just started working on a website, and so I will want to have all of that ready. And as it looks now, I'm not going back to Tanglewood.
All right, yeah. Wonderful.
Oh, I'll want to connect with you. Let's chat then,
Yes.
Queen.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for your presence. And thank you so much, Queen, for sharing your wisdom and beauty.
Very much welcome.
Okay, lots of love to all of you and have an amazing day.
Thank you,
Thank
Sabina.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
This was
you.
beautiful.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
And